Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a really fun project for you today, and this is very beginner based. So if you are a beginner, stay tuned. Let's take a look at this quilt behind me. So this is made up of two different blocks. We have this block right here and we have this block right here. And we put them together and it just makes it awesome. So let me show you how to do this. So to make this quilt, you're going to need one packet of 10-inch squares, and we have used Rosemary Cottage by Camille Roskelley for Moda. You're going to need some background squares. Now most of those are going to be 10-inch squares, so you can use a layer cake, but we went with this cute white on white yardage that was included in the line, and we used 3 5/8 yards for that, and that includes your little inner border. Also, our big outer border is a nice big 6-inch border, and it is 1 5/8 yards for that. And our backing is going to be 8 5/8 yards. Now, this is a big quilt. It's 80 by 95. If you want to use a 108, you're going to need 2.5 yards. And so you're also going to want to pick up one of these cake mix recipe books, book number 4. And we'll talk more about these later. All right, so this is a really interesting way to make quilts. So my friend Carrie Nelson made these cake mixes. And the cake mixes are really fun because it's like the triangle papers, only at the end of the day you get a whole block at the end. And basically what you do is on the front here, it will show the 4 blocks or however many blocks are featured in this pack. And you will just use the paper and sew on the line. So this is very beginner friendly, and I'll show you how to do it. You'll need one pack of these to make this quilt, and rather than making the quilt all out of one block, we decided to make 2 blocks out of this quilt and put them together. So the first block we're making is this one right here, and it's all the same half square triangles. And then the next block we're making is this one, and it's just the same half square triangles that we're cutting. They're just arranged differently. And so it's very, very fun. And so what we're going to do here is we are going to take this paper and we're going to lay 2 of our squares. So we've got 2 10-inch squares here. We're going to put them right sides together. And then we're going to put the paper on top of it. Now you want to, if you need to pin, whatever we're going to do, I think I'm going to put a few pins in here because you want to make sure it's right. But a few things I want to point out before we start sewing is the little dash lines are your sew lines, and it even has this little curvy arrow here where you turn around and come back down the other side. Again, very beginner friendly. And then there's 2 cutting lines. One is a 3 1/4 cutting line and one is a 4 1/4. The nice thing about doing it this way is that there's no squaring. They come out perfectly. So we all know that you can make half square triangles the easy 8, or sew around and make 4 or whatever you can do it. But if you're just starting, this is a great way for beginners to start. So I'm going to grab a couple of pins here just because I don't want this to shift. And I'm going to go ahead and put them here where I'm not sewing, and so that I can just take this over. Now when you sew with these, you're going to want to decrease your stitch length just a little bit because once you get these sewn, you're going to tear all these papers off. And so when you decrease your stitch line, it just perforates it more closely and it makes it easier to tear. So we'll take this out and we'll sew. Now one of the cool things is there's probably a dozen of these, and I honestly think they're really genius ideas. It takes all the stress and the thought out of it. You look along here, you pick a block you want to do, you lay the papers on your 2 squares, your 2 10-inch squares. They're made specifically for 10-inch layer cakes. There's actually small packs for charm packs as well. And so it's just fun because it just takes all the stress out of it. So we're going to start here where it should say start. Oh, right here. There's a little star. We are going to follow the directions and start right there. All right, so we're going to sew right down here. Oh, I'm going to lower my stitch length just a little bit. And I'm right here at the middle, and it has me turning and going this way. Right to the end, and then we swing around And we come down the other side. I'm just going to move my needle across here to the other side. Come to the line. Down the other side of this one. You'll just follow these little arrows. There's little arrows on it. Come over here to this side. We are almost done. All right, so we are done here. You can see we've sewed on all 4 of the lines. You want to make sure that, yes, you actually did sew on all the lines, because once you start cutting, it'll be hard to go back and re-sew those again if you've missed any. So now we're ready to cut our block, and we're going to go ahead and cut this outside edge. See right here it says the 4" by 4" cutting line, and we want our blocks to be 4 inches. And we're just going to get this little outside edge out of the way first. I mean, you can do this in any order that you want. We're basically cutting on the solid lines. So right here they have this little key, and it says stitching line, and you see the dashes, cutting line, and you see the solid line. And so we're going to just go ahead and cut these. And it is kind of cool because you can get 2 different sizes from this. Me using a lot of pre-cuts, I don't tend to use a lot of different sizes, but when you're putting blocks together from this cupcake book, it's or the cake mix book, it's really it really makes it easy. So these are cake mixes. The little 5" ones are cupcake mixes. I just think they're clever as can be. I think this is a genius idea. I think it's great for beginners. So now I just moved them apart. You could leave them together and cut the whole thing, but I'm just going to cut on that center line like this, and over here, and one more, and this will give you 8 half square triangles. Now to make either one of these blocks, it's going to take 16, so you're going to need 2 blocks, 2 of the papers for each one of these blocks. So let's go ahead, and we're going to take this paper off, and I'm just going to like finger press it and then just peel it off like that, and this other side comes right off. And then we will press these open. This, I usually do the whole quilt, all the blocks, and then I peel it, or I let my grandkids sit and peel it while we're watching television or something. It's really pretty mindless and easy. And when you shorten that stitch length a little bit, it makes it really easy. So these came out a few years ago, and I have several other tutorials where I've used these, and I just found them so much fun, and it was just such a great, easy way to come up with some different patterns. And again, you don't need the paper to do this, but a lot of us are to the stage where we're teaching somebody. We're putting our arm around them, we're gathering them in, we're teaching them, and this just makes it really easy for a beginner. All right, so I'm pressing these to the dark side. So I put my dark on the top, lift it up, and just press it back. And that will put your seam on the dark side of the fabric, which hides that seam. Whenever you're using a white background, it's always a good idea to press to the dark side so that your seam gets hidden, because if you press to the white side, you'll see that little seam. So this is the first block we're going to make right here. And you'll notice this middle square right here, it has all the whites coming into the middle. And I tend to look at that first. Now you'll have this picture to go by right here. And we are making these two blocks, block 3 and block 4. And we're just going to put them together. And I love what happened when we did that. But block, you can do the whole quilt just out of one block, or you can do the whole quilt out of all 4 blocks. I mean, this is really up to you. And so this is where that what if and that playing factor comes in. So let's start. We'll use this color for our middle section here. And we're going to put our whites to the middle, just like this. And then we're going to start adding our rows around it. It's pretty easy to see when you get something going the wrong way. So we're going to put these together next, and we're going to make this makes a flying geese block, which is a whole nother idea for a quilt. And we're going to put this one, nope, the green goes to the middle. Nope, the green goes to the middle. There we go. Whew. For those of us who are angly challenged, you know, this is a really, you just have to pay attention. So I just have these little mantras: green to the center, green to the center, green to the center, and green to the center right here, just like this. And then we're ready to put our corner blocks in, and these go to the outside like this. And just like that, you get this great block, which is every other one. We just staggered them. So we have that block here, and then we have it here and here. So we just staggered them on every row, and you know, we just used them, and I mean, it just came together fun. But let's put the other block together as well. So this is our second block right here, and it has 2 flying geese in the center, and they kind of look like they're kissing each other. So we're going to go right here like this. I'm actually going to just move these things away so they don't confuse me. And this one goes like this. And see, they just come together with right there in the middle. All right, the next block, you're going to make these legs come out. So this is going to be a chevron block, and the legs come out like that. And honestly, you may be able to just lay this out in rows. Your brain may work that way. This is a brain thing. For me, this is something I have to do from the center out. That's what works for my brain. And then over here we have the white, so we want the white legs out as well. So I'm going to put those this way. And so it makes, again, this chevron block of the white. And there we go. White to the middle, white to the middle. Nope, that's not right. This way. There we go. It's green to the middle. All right, so then we've got these here, these 2 green here, and then we're ready to put in our 4 corner blocks. So these corner blocks go in a little differently, and they go in like this to the middle. And on both sides they do it. They go into the middle right here, like this. Now, had I done the same thing as this block, a whole new secondary pattern would have appeared. But we wanted to keep it just like the way it was shown on here. But I'm very tempted to see what happens if I did it and turned those out. So let's take a look at this block right here, and let's look how this fits into the quilt. So here it is right here and right here. So every other block, just like that. And then down here, it starts with this, and then it's just every other one. And so there's a lot of lights in this quilt. You want to watch for those. If you want your darks to be more in the center, you can use your darks more in the center and your lights on the outside. You can really do whatever you want, but it's a great way to make a quilt. So we quilted this with curly twirly flowers, and I want to show you the back right here. This is a beautiful fabric on the back, and I mean, it just looks so pretty. I just think that floral is gorgeous. And then we used our whole pack. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 by 5, 20 squares. Takes 2 squares for each block, so 40 blocks. And in each one of these cake mixes, you get 44. So one packet will do this whole quilt. Anyway, I think this is a fun way to make a quilt, something new to try, great idea for beginners. And we're calling this the Carrie Quilt because of my friend Carrie Nelson, who made these. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Carrie Quilt from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.